So I'm a new daddy. Um, so I just adopted new baby girl. I just picked her up yesterday. Her name is Ruby. She's 5 years old. She just had surgery on her knee, so she's a little bit sore and needs some healing. And she's very timid and anxious. She, I saw two dogs when I went to adopt Ruby. There was one dog that he's a 2 year old. I don't even know the breed, but he's just so rambunctious and crazy, and he loved me and he wanted to play. And it was just amazing. But he just was full of ego. Like he was the boss, right? And there was Ruby, which was he needed a lot of work, but it was a different kind of work. It was work that I don't have time for right now, right? And the only reason I got another dog was for Gandhi because I am starting to become more busy and I want him to have somebody around all the time. But I don't want to have to go through the training process I did with Gandhi because it was extensive and he was the hardest dog I've ever had to train. Being a German Shepherd crossed with a hound and being like as animal as he is, it was something I had to go through. And I saw that dog, whose name was Loki, was way too much for me. And then Ruby, she's just this little sweetheart. She's so calm. She's maternal, and it's like exactly that polarity that I need. Uh, well, I think Gandhi needs that like calm maternal energy. He's like the paternal archetype of dog, right? She's the cuddly little mother dog, and let's take you over to see her. This is where she slept last night. Hi, girl. How you going, Ruby? How's you good girl? Oh yeah. And then look at these two. Is that your new girl, Gandhi? Is that your new girl? Yeah. So she has a little knee injury. She fell on the ice a month ago and hurt her knee. So she had to get surgery, and she had somebody just like a donor paid for her whole surgery for her. Just like usually they take donations over time, but somebody just really liked her and paid for her surgery, and so that was really nice. And I realized is like there's a reason why, like psychologically, mm, it's easier to work with maternal energies. You know, I'm a paternal person, and because of that, I'm very assertive, and I'm when I have ideas, I say them. I'm willing for them to move, so I'm by far not ice. I'm definitely liquid. However, because I am so assertive, it I don't take much into account the feelings as much as I should, and I am working on that. However, I do believe things need to be said, and I guess there's ways of saying them that I could be better at, and I hope to be, and I will be better at. However, when I like look back at when I had a crew, I hired three or four dudes at the same time from a band I used to play in back in the day, and they're all like quite egotistical dudes, right? And the one dude that was in the that was more, he's definitely very much paternal too, but he was more balanced and had some more maternal. He was a younger dude. He was the easiest to work with, even though I respected him the most out of all of them, right? And the reason they liked him in the band is because he just is the maternal. He just lets things slide, and but also he's very competent. So he's like a very balanced dude. But the other dudes in the band, they couldn't work because I know what I'm talking about. When I was building this, I designed the mushroom facility, right? So I told them how I wanted to run it. I was the lead contractor. I was building also, but I was also running my facility. So I was like kind of micromanaging them, and because I was micromanaging them, which I needed to do because I designed the facility, I got a lot of pushback from these like egotistical dudes. And it got to the point where I was like, you know what, this is too much. I don't need to push back every time I come over and say something. This is my project. I am paying you. I am the person that you should see as the dominant person. There's times that I could look to you as the dominant person. I can be the beta too, right? These are switch off places, right? So men are really egotistical and they believe they're all alphas, right? And Gandhi's like that. He thinks he's the alpha every dog, right? And um, alpha people that play that game are all the time it's silly. Like I think a healthy way to be is a Sigma personality, or Signa is, and it's somebody that doesn't play the game to try to have these dominance hierarchy games, right? Like they build their own games, and they don't want to get involved with these like silly people, right? So I realize is that when I'm working in my facility, uh, from maternal people, I don't get that pushback, right? I actually have to encourage them to be more assertive because I want people to be assertive, but I don't want them to be aggressive, right? The assertion's in the center and the passivity is here. This is aggression, but men always like, they're like, no, it's not going to work. Like I'll say something to be like, hey, yeah, it's going to line up. And they'll be like, shouldn't we measure it? I'm like, it's going to line up because I've already gone through this, right? So this thing about men, they're like, not men, maternal people, but it's generally men that I have the issue with this situation. But I'm talking about maternal people because there's very maternal women that are just like this. So paternal people that are just like this. So I'll be like, hey, could you do this thing? And they'll be like, no, we should measure. I think we should measure before you do it. And I'll be like, I've already understood. Like I've got all the measurements done. Like I'm 20 steps ahead of all these people, right? I'm like, just do it, right? Trust me, just do it. Be like, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. Blah blah blah. This is ridiculous. And then he walks off and he just does it because he finally listens. But I have to deal with this like petty egotist. He's good at what he does. He's a good builder. However, he doesn't understand that I'm 10 steps ahead of him, right? So he does it. It all lines up. And he's grumpy at me after. Well, what is he grumpy at? Is he grumpy because he was wrong? Yes, that's right. He was. So, yeah, a little bit of psychology, but welcome to the family, Ruby. And yeah, let's be maternal and paternal when the time calls for either or, you know. If I'm learning about some healing practices I know nothing about, which I'm learning some sound healing stuff, I sit down on the ground and the teacher stands, you know? And then when I can teach people about what I do, it goes back and forth. Sometimes we stand and sit at the same time, and it's that to me is what channeling is. Because if you're speaking from the creator, then you're learning from the creator as you're teaching. So it's both happening at once. Yeah. Much love. Take care.